What's up, Kean TV, and welcome to another episode of Curtain Call with Frank. Today, I find myself inside of the Wilkins Theater here at Kean, covering Parade the Musical, written by Alfred Urey and directed by Daniel Kuttner. So what do you say we go take a look?
Just like I said, yes, I'm listening.
To come to his office. Did Mr. Dorsey coach you on what to say?
What's up, Kean TV? I'm here with one of the cast members, my good friend Jesse Dorfman. So Jesse, you mind if I ask you a couple of questions?
Sure, please.
Tell me a little bit about your character.
So my character was the prosecutor of the trial against Leo Frank, who was trying to convict him of the killing of Mary Fagan.
And how did you prepare for this role?
Well, the fact that this musical is based on a true story allowed me to investigate and study the story itself and the historical parts of it. So that included a lot of online research and actually some work in the library with books and archives and such like that into the trial, because it's based off, like I said, a real thing. So that's where it really started. And then from there, it was building the character.
Did you find any creepy things, since this is a true story, when you were doing your research that perhaps gave you some chills?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They convict Leo Frank of hanging this girl that he didn't. And in the musical they stressed that, but in real life it was stressed even more, that there was so much evidence against somebody else, and they proved him guilty with fake evidence regardless. Because whatever they needed to do to prove the Jewish man guilty, they did, and they lied a lot.
Super unjust. And one last question, what are some of the themes that people can see throughout this musical?
Themes that could definitely be looked at are something that's important is looking at the heart of everybody and looking at intentions of everyone. So there's a lot of people in this musical that seem like they're bad people because they wanted to hang somebody for a crime that he didn't commit. And while that was a bad thing, and they were all people who did do a bad thing, it's important to realize that they were all were trying to do the right thing for their own, and that they all were just kind of trying to get by, and they were trying to do what they had to do, to move forward, and they thought that just proving someone guilty was what they had to do. Other themes: forgiveness, being able to look at somebody after they've done something wrong or not, and being able to say, I still love you, and we could still have a relationship.
I'm here with my good friend Jay, who happened to play the role of
Newt Lee and Jim Conley.
Congratulations, man. You did a great job tonight. Your singing was impeccable. And please, how did you prepare for this role tonight?
So the way that I prepared for it was that we studied the actual case of Leo Frank. I read about the case. I also read a book on the show called And the Dead Shall Rise. But I think the big point was reading the entire case and preparing to see what the point of views are, what these people were, and then applying that to the show. We also had a cantor come from the local Jewish center who came, and she gave us an entire lesson on the trial as well, which really did help.
What are some of the themes that we can see throughout the musical?
Some of the themes that you can see is the theme of injustice. You can see the theme of anti-Semitism. You can see the theme of whenever swarm intelligence navigates around hate and they attack something. How all these people come together and they all have the same thought process, which is like, we hate this person and we think he's done this, and how that infiltrates into his life and how destructive that is. Which is all of that, injustice, anti-Semitism, hate being worked up and it doing its job is working in today's time as we speak. All of that.
If you could describe your character in one word, what word would that be?
Guilty.
What did it feel to play a character that's basically lying in front of so many people?
So the thing about that is that as an actor, at least my approach is that I try to develop the thought process. So I think as that character. So it's pretty destructive to think about the scenario and to really give my all to that. So it's kind of draining at a time. But since the numbers that I am in are so upbeat and so lively, I take my energy from the music, which is very nice.
What's up, Kean TV? I'm here with Joseph and Victoria, who played
Leo Frank.
Lucille Frank.
Congratulations, guys. You did an amazing job, and I gotta tell you, I gotta start with the hottest question. that kiss scene. I mean, I felt the heat. Please, give me some details on that kiss.
There's not really details. We staged the number, and our director Dan said, "All right, go for it," and so we did. It took time to get comfortable, but it really worked out in the end.
I mean, I feel like it was more of just kind of, this is really between Leo and Lucille right now. It's not between Victoria and Joe. It's in the moment, really.
How did you guys prepare for such unique roles?
A lot of research and a lot of just running it and just really getting into who he is as a person, because he's very wired, which is very opposite of who I am, and he's very angry and very antsy all the time, so it was hard to get into that kind of character, but there's a lot of research really went into it.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree with Joe. I mean, it was definitely a lot of research and understanding at the time in 1913 what was actually happening in the events, and imagining, oh my gosh, like Lucille could lose her husband. I mean, and you could see clearly the relationship between the two from in Act 1 to Act 2. I mean, in Act 1, he kind of treats her like there's no one there, and in Act 2, she's like, let me in, let me get there, and then eventually they come together.
What's up, Kean TV? I'm here with my friend
Megan Landon.
How you doing tonight, Megan?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just a couple of questions. What did you think of tonight's show?
It was absolutely breathtaking. The entire cast is just wonderful, and the story's something that really needs to be told.
That's really good to hear. Tell me, would you recommend this to somebody that hasn't seen the show yet?
Oh, absolutely. It's something that's not done often, and it's something that not a lot of people get to see, so while you can catch it, you should.
There you have it, folks. Till next time.